All right, we are live once again on the Jim Feist Handicapping Show for another special Tuesday broadcast. As you can see, this is another college basketball video that we are really primed for, Jim, because it's Sweet 16 time, and we don't get many of these, just once a year.
That's right. Brought to you by Don DeMarco's, 9785 West Charleston here in Las Vegas. Great Italian food. I love their pizza. I love all their food. Albert Scalliot, the host and owner, and love it there. And Greg, how are you doing this morning?
So far, so good. We had a few upsets. We had a little taste of a Cinderella here and there, which was better than last year. But for the most part, once we got through the first round of games and into the weekend, a lot more of the top teams came through, with the exception maybe of just Florida. Other than that, if you take a look at the bracket right now, there are not a lot of surprises left.
No, I think you get to the. All these teams are major conferences. Except me. Well, who else? Who's left from a minor conference?
None. None. No mid majors.
And I think that's telling, and I think that's the wave of the future, and it's going to be that way with the nil in the portal. Which, when you get to this level, yeah, you can say, well, Duke is better than St. John's based on their record for the year. And the way that they played consistently and stuff like that. But all these teams are capable. Now, when you get down to the lower level of, what's the name of the how would we categorize them? They're just not in. They just can't compete. They might have some front end talent, but they don't have the depth. And when you watch them in person, you could just see it. They're just not the same. It's a different level. I think we're going to end up with, that's my prediction anyway. We're going to end up with not more teams in this event, but less, and then we'll split off to a separate tournament. Maybe.
Well, that'll take time though. That's not going to happen overnight. So they don't do anything overnight when it comes to these types of drastic changes.
I think they're destroying this event, though.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to have. And when you start,
we think they're destroying it, but do they? Are they losing money?
Hard to say.
That's the thing we don't know. I don't know if they're losing money. Because if they're not losing money, they ain't changing anything.
Very true. There's a lot of factors involved. Where does all the revenue come from? Who's upset with us? Who's happy with it? It's hard to say. If you buy advertising into a game or a series of games that have very little viewership at the end of the game, the advertisers are not going to get the exposure. That might be the key to the problem. We may not see that on the front end with the ratings, et cetera, because the gamblers and stuff still have their money on the event.
Yep.
But you start a game off at 17, 18, 20-point favorite, and people are wanting to look for the upset. And then the next thing you look at, they're down 45. They're turning off their TVs or they're moving to another channel or another game. So you might end up seeing it from the revenue from advertisers, and we're not going to see that up front. So it's hard to say where the revenue streams are going to be affected. I'm not sure. The TV probably not, because I think people are still tuned in. But no, that's tuned in for half the game maybe, because at the end, when the game's up, you're up 40 points at the halftime, you're probably going away.
I'm kind of surprised at some of the games, like the way that they scheduled the primetime games. They scheduled a lot of these blowouts at prime time, like late at the 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock games. It's like, why are you scheduling games where the teams are favored by 25 points? I mean, those games should be like in the middle of the day where anybody can decide to watch that game or something else. They could just turn it off. So I don't know. Maybe it might just be, again, because they don't care. They care more about, but Connecticut's got a name. And even though they're a huge favorite, and they're going to blow out Furman or whatever, we have to show Connecticut. Same thing for any of those other teams that were heavy favorites. That's the only reason that I think they do it. And yet most of it's unwatchable, but I don't know. I guess it works. Otherwise they wouldn't do it. I don't know.
Well, I'm not too sure. I think that you might be giving the committee too much credit. I don't know that.
Oh no, not the committee. They don't make that decision. I don't give them any credit. It would have to be the TV people. So I don't know.
Are they actually looking at the point spread and saying, "Oh, this game can't be competitive"? Are they doing that? I don't think so. I just don't think.
No, I think they care about the team, who the top team that's the heavy favorite. That they know they're going to get a draw for that team, even if it's a blowout.
Well, right now we've got 16 teams that are all basically competitive. We don't have big lines. We have one double-digit favorite, and that would be Michigan over Alabama, which Michigan has played unbelievably well, but there's no other game that has a double-digit favorite in the final 16. So these games might be the best of what we've seen from a competitive standpoint. Now, my point to that is, if the best we're going to see is at this level, then we might end up saying, well, there's too many teams in this event. It's 68 teams because half the field cannot compete. Then we start looking for a big change. And that's what I predict is going to happen. As long as the NIL and the portal has absolutely no handcuffs on it and they can do anything they damn well please.
Well, again, like I said, if they do that, what I would rather them put together first or try out would be if they came up with, again, right now, let's say these are the top 16 teams. And like I said, we could say that Florida, maybe not here. That's one team. So let's say even if you had a 28 and you said, okay, these are our at-large 28 teams, they get in and then they're going to play. But the week before the tournament begins, we're going to have the mid-major tournament, and the top 4 teams that make it out of there are going to get invited to the big tournament, and we'll have 32 teams, 28 plus the 4 that come in from the mid-major tournament. I'd rather see something like that than see a mid-major tournament, because then it's like the NIT of old, which was okay. I had no problem with it when we were growing up. There wasn't a lot on TV at the time, though, when we were growing up. So I got into the NIT, but I don't know if people would really get into that as much as maybe we would have in the past. So I think giving them hope that they can also maybe get in with the big boys, that would be a nice prize for them. And we'd still be able to bet on games and do or die. So that would be my guess, my hope, that they'd be able to come up with something creative like that.
Well, there you go. I mean, let's hypothetical, and we're all talking hypothetical here. Let's say the NIT is that tournament, and then the top 4 get invited to the big dance. So, but the problem is with all that is you may end up prolonging the season, and these teams that are in the final 28, they're waiting an extra week to play basketball. And I'm not too sure that's going to sit well. But I like the idea, but I think the NIT might come into the mix to be that play-in tournament.
Well, the other thing, because they do have, I mean, there are some conferences, not the biggest ones, but there are some conferences that do have about a week off between their championship game, postseason, and then the start of the NCAA tournament. And that's all I'm asking for is a week. And I don't think that's long. You get an opportunity to rest up everybody. I don't think asking for an extra 3 days off is a big deal.
You're probably right. But I like the idea. The concept is, I think both of our concepts are identical. Also, I'm saying instead of creating another tournament, just use the NIT.
Yeah. So again, we'll see how long that takes, but we'll find out again what kind of traction we get here ratings-wise, because I'm assuming it's going to be pretty good with all of these teams. and we're going to hope that we're going to get some really good games. We already had some really good games. You know,
Yes.
the Kentucky game against Santa Clara, heartbreaker for Santa Clara.
Yeah, I lost money on that one.
Oh, that was the one that went to over. Yeah, because it went to overtime,
Yes.
and because it went to overtime, you lost. That's it. That's the thing about basketball that really. There's two things. It's overtime and free throw shooting.
Overtime is where the underdog goes to die.
Yeah,
we've always said that, and boy, that was the perfect example. But we've got 16 teams here that I'm excited to see. I'm excited that there are 8 teams still in the NIT, and that's pretty exciting as well, but not to this level, because we're looking for the national champion. It's definitely going to be one of these 16 teams, and can we figure out who it is?
Yeah, we'll start in the East, and we've got Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn. So we really have just the top 4 teams. St. John's was favored over Kansas, so that was not an upset. So the top 4 teams that were all favored to win the second round made it into the Sweet 16, and Duke right now is one of the heavier favorites as well. They should be. They're going to be playing on Friday. They're the early game on Friday against St. John's. They're a 6.5 point favorite, about a little over 2-1 on the money lines. You got the ACC champs against the Big East champs in that one matchup. And then the second matchup is the Michigan State game against UConn. That'll be later on that night on Friday night. Michigan State, UConn. You got the third team from the Big Ten against the second team from the Big East. UConn's a 2-point favorite in that one. So what do you think about these East matchups?
Well, I think UConn has a higher ceiling than Michigan State, but they've also played some incredibly head-scratching games where you didn't get this consistency. But I mean, I've talked to people that are really knowledgeable. They feel that UConn is very dangerous to win this whole thing, and I keep scratching my head about it and saying, I don't know how. I mean, I could see them winning this game, but winning the whole thing, wow.
No, I don't see it.
It's so inconsistent. But the UConn, they've had a history of pulling. I mean, look at a couple of years ago they won this thing, and nobody expected them to do so. And it's a kind of a mystery team. They just come up. They got the pedigree, they got the history. And then, I mean, obviously they have it on the women's side too, because they're dominant. But in this game, I'm favoring Connecticut. But like I said, they play a lot of head-scratching games where they just don't show up.
Yeah, they're 14-22 against the spread. Once again, they lost that against Furman in that first round matchup. The UCLA game was also close until late. They're getting a tremendous tournament so far from Taris Reed, who's just going off right now. He's already got 41 points and 40 rebounds in the 2 games. You're talking about a player who averaged 13 points a game during the regular season. So that's the kind of performance you're going to need from UConn. They did lose Silas Damari to an ankle injury in the Big East Championship. He didn't play in the first round. He came back against UCLA, did not play all that great. Maybe he needed some time. So now he's got an extra time off. That'll be very helpful. But I also noticed that Solo Ball, man, he has not come to play so far. And he's one of their top scorers. He averages 14 points a game. He was held scoreless against UCLA. So he needs to pick up his game. And they're also really shooting poorly from 3. In their first 2 games, they're only shooting 26% from 3. Michigan State, meanwhile, is absolutely on fire shooting right now. Their 3-point shooting has gone from 35% in the regular season to 45% in the tournament. And their free throw shooting is also up 5% in the tournament. And Jeremy Fears has 19 points and 27 assists already in the NCAA tournament. We're getting the really good coaching matchup here. 2 of the best in the game. I like Michigan State in this one. I think Michigan State is looking they're playing exactly how they need to play and better. I think they're at the point where they can, in my opinion, I think they have a much better chance of winning the championship than this UConn team. I still don't believe in this UConn team. I'll believe in them if they beat Michigan State. But I just think Michigan State has been a better team all year, and they look really good so far in this tournament.
Well, Greg, just the things that you pointed out. Who's the most schizophrenic team here between these two? And it has to be Connecticut.
Yeah.
You have no idea what they're bringing. But they have a very high ceiling if they bring it. That's the question. As far as coaching is concerned, they both have a lot of pedigree on both sides of the ball. Now, the game opens, pick them. And I do see twos out there on Connecticut. So they're 1.5 and 2 everywhere. There's money on Connecticut, but it's just it's like going to a slot machine with these guys. You just don't know what the hell you're going to get.
Yeah, I also like the only bet I made for futures into the, as far as Final Four futures today was Michigan State. Out of the 4 regions, I thought they were the best value. I was able to get them at about 5-1 to get to the Final Four now. So if they win their 2 games, 5-1, I think that's very generous odds for a team that's in a pick'em game here. And then if they win, they play potentially Duke, and they're going to be 2-1. So I think 5-1 is a really good number for Michigan State.
Let's talk about that, because there's an enormous amount of money that's been put, well, not an enormous amount, but a substantial amount of money that's been put on St. John's. Now, if you watch that game between St. John's and Kansas, I don't think I've ever seen a game that was worse. The first half, I couldn't believe what I was watching. This is like a high school team that they forgot how to shoot, and they forgot how to play. The turnovers and the missed, shots that were missing the rim and just,
that's St. John's for you.
Yeah, but they play defense.
Yeah.
They really play defense. Now, coaching-wise, you got Pitino in this thing, and boy, he has a way of bringing some real surprises. Do you want to lay 7 with Duke over St. John's? I don't.
The thing that you talk about how we can see this changing from regular season to tournament and how that could happen. And we're seeing that with Duke. This is why Duke could really be dangerous now, because all of a sudden, if you take a look at it, we knew Caleb Foster was going to miss the first week, and I don't think he's playing this week. I think the only way he comes back is to make it to the Final Four, which is entirely possible. But they get Ngongba back, the big dude, and he's a very big part of their overall team. But really, with a couple of pieces kind of missing, a piece and a half missing, they were able to get contributions from Malik Brown, who went from a 5-point scorer. He was averaging 5.4 in the regular season. Now he's averaging 9.8 in the tournament. Caden Boozer, Cameron's little brother, or I guess is his brother. I don't know how little he is.
I was going to say it can't be that little.
No, went from averaging 6 points a game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in the regular season, to 14 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists in the tournament so far. And Dame Sarr averaged 6 points a game in the regular season. He's now averaging 9.5 in the tournament. So they've got 3 guys that have upped their game in the tournament. And Duke was already a dangerous team. And that's what you need to really be a championship type team. And they're showing it right now, because they came into the tournament with only 4 players on their entire roster averaging 7 points per game or higher. And that's why this additional offense is really going to make them difficult to beat.
So are you favoring Duke minus the 6 or 7?
I am. I'm really afraid of St. John's offense, just like we saw in that game. This is what took them out last year. If they lay bricks against Duke, I think Duke's going to run them out of the gym. I just don't. I think because Duke can play D. It's St. John's might be a little bit better, but not much better. And St. John's hasn't played a team like Duke all year. So I think 6 points is easy unless St. John's comes out and hits. I mean, they got to hit. They've got to be able to have one of their better shooting nights of the year.
Well, we know that Duke has the pedigree. We know that St. John's has the pedigree. Well, they definitely have a coach that's had tremendous success. I don't know. This is a very tough. You can't. How the hell? I mean, I don't know how St. John's got this far with that kind of an offense, but obviously not that they're not that bad every game.
No,
I mean that was just horrible.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how they even won against Kansas. I mean, the Kansas had them down, and I guess Bill Self is going to move on to retirement. Maybe.
Oh, is that the rumor?
The rumor is he could take another job.
Really?
But it looks like he's pretty disgusted with what's going on at Kansas.
He's probably disgusted with the whole system. That's what he's probably disgusted.
Well, a lot of us are actually. Yep. So it depends on his health and how he. I mean, they got plenty of money at this point, so they can make good decisions for themselves.
I'm going to
stay neutral for a moment on this game.
Okay. Don't forget tomorrow at 1 Eastern. That is so far the scheduled time for the Playbook ATS podcast. So we'll both be there along with Mark Lawrence, who hosts the show, and Andy Iskoe, who has picked St. John's to win the national championship last week. So we'll find out from Andy whether or not he is a little bit more concerned with St. John's, or if this was just what he expected. He knew St. John's was going to be, they weren't going to win a championship based on their offense. That's for sure.
I'll tell you, he's not the only one that's picked St. John's to do this, to make it. It's really amazing, as horrible as they are on offense. I mean, oh my God. I mean, it's when you consider how they looked on offense last week and say this could be the champion. Oh man. I played on a high school team that looked better.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But like you said, it was one game. So, all right. So here's the South, and in the South, we have on the bottom, we have what we pretty much expected. We have Illinois and Houston, 2 versus 3. On the top, though, I think most people expected a Florida Vanderbilt rematch, and instead, we've got the third game this year between Iowa and Nebraska. So the 2 SEC teams were beaten by the 2 Big Ten teams. And I think that's all you need to know about which conference was better this year. I think we all knew that anyway going in, and that definitely sealed the deal there. So Iowa against Nebraska. Right now, Iowa is considered the Cinderella, and that's really making it, in quotations there. But they're coming in as the 9 seed, and they had the big win at the pretty much at the buzzer to beat Florida on that 3. And it was really a great game, a great way to finish that game. And that Nebraska-Vandy game, boy, did Nebraska have a major edge with that. It was like the home court for Nebraska. I feel sorry for the Vanderbilt side.
Yeah, it was amazing that the sound, just watching it when they did something, it was like a home court. It had to be. They had to have 90% of the people. It sounded that way.
Yes.
But these are not muffins. These 2 teams can play. I do think Florida got out-coached in that game pretty badly.
In what respect?
I thought there were some terrible moves by Florida's coach. I mean, the full court press when they're up to I thought that was horrible. But they made some mistakes coach-wise. But anyway, I'm not taking anything away from Iowa. They played a great game. I thought they played a great game the previous game. I think they've got a lot together. They're doing all the right things. They're dangerous, but knocking off number 1 is a real emotional issue. That does not bode well for them heading to their next game. This game opened Nebraska 3. You can't find that anymore. You're seeing all 1.5s on Nebraska.
Yeah, I think it helps Iowa for 2 reasons. One is they got time. So now they've got several days to get their act straight out here. Also, I mean, look, this is it's you upset number one seeded team, and that's great. But I mean, did we come in? I mean, again, I'm speaking like they are. Did we come into this tournament trying to get to the Sweet 16? Was that our goal? No, that wasn't our goal. We expected to win that game. We got them. We're trying to get to the Final Four, and so we're playing a team that we've played already twice this year. So it's a rival. It's a conference rival. Both teams won at home and covered at home. Nebraska was able to cover at home because they did that overtime deal where the Dog was beaten once again in overtime. Nebraska was the home favorite, goes to overtime. Nebraska won and covered. Iowa won at home and covered. So this is the third of three of the meetings. Now, what's interesting about Iowa, this is the reason why I really like Iowa in this one. Couple of reasons. One, Nebraska now is no longer going to get home court advantage. That's one. And two, Iowa was able to get this far, including beat Florida, with their best player, 3 of 19 from 3 points in the first 2 games of the tournament. So if anybody would have told Iowa fans that the best player that kid starts would go 3 of 19 from 3, they'd be, I guess we're out. And the team in a regular season wasn't a great 3-point shooting team. They were 35%, 113th in the nation. Well, thanks to Sturts, they're 28%. So some of the things that is important for Iowa to win these types of games, well, they didn't really do. They still found a way. And that's why I think I feel a lot better about Iowa's chances, especially, again, like I said, also throw on top that Nebraska had that home court edge that they're not going to get here. And overall, though, it does look like one of those games that I could sit here and say I like Iowa, but I think we could all feel pretty comfortable. It's going to be one of those games that's going to come down to the last possession or two.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Totally agree with that.
And you know what? Maybe 750. I didn't have to put Iowa. I didn't have to bet on Iowa to get to the Final Four with that number because I already took Iowa to make the Final Four like in January. I forget what number I had. But if I didn't, I would take that because, again, I'm thinking like they've got – so like Michigan State. Okay, so they're basically in an even game against Nebraska. Okay, well, all right, they win that game. They have one more game to win, and I'm getting 7-1 odds. I'm not getting 7-1 odds if it's Iowa-Houston. And if Illinois can upset Houston, well, hey, I got an Illinois, I got another Big Ten team. I can handle Illinois maybe a little bit better than Houston. And Houston, I think, of course, we know they're the best team left. There's no doubt about that. But I think 7-1 is a little bit out there right now. I think that's probably not a bad idea if you want to throw a few bucks in Iowa.
Now, you just made a statement. You said Houston is definitely the best team left in the tournament.
No, in the region.
Oh, in the region. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll pass on that then. Okay.
So what do you think about the game?
The Illinois-Houston game, very interesting. Game open 2. It's up to 3.5, and I've seen some 4s stick out there against Illinois. Houston is a monster, and they are on a mission because you and I – we were there last year. I had Houston, you had Florida, and you beat me. But Houston's on a mission after losing last year in the final, and they're playing like it. They lost those 3 games in a row late in the season, and a lot of people started chalking them off because they lost those 3 games, but they're back. Now, Illinois is very good. I'm not knocking them, but you can see the money has come in on Houston in this game.
Yeah, Illinois won their 2 tournament games by 21 or more, but Houston won their 2 tournament games by 31 or more. So both of these teams are coming in playing pretty good so far.
They're smoking. Yeah.
Look, the one thing that we know about Houston, they're going to be really good defensively, and they're also a very good free throw shooting team, which we know is important this time of year, but they're not very good at the 3. And so, maybe, Flemings might be the one guy that can get hot and he could take over a game. He's got that kind of talent for a young kid. Illinois, meanwhile, I think they've got more depth offensively. I think that's true. But they don't have the defense and the grittiness or the toughness of Houston. And I think that's what we've seen out of Illinois this year is they haven't won a lot of big games like this. They come up against these top teams, and this is when you draw that line between whether Illinois is capable of being a second, third seed or a 1 seed. And until they can prove it otherwise, I think Houston's got to be the play here.
Who's got the better? Well, I know who's got the better defense, but the defensive efficiency rating is a tell here between these two. And that's, I think, why it's drawing money. But to me, the Houston is for sure a money line play. You don't lay the points because you don't want to get stuck with that. You just go out there, grab the money line and play Houston.
And what do you think about, so if somebody likes Houston and they really believe they're especially in this region, they're plus 130 right there to win the region. Would you say that is a good wager for someone who believes in Houston?
You when you say region, you mean the next 2 games?
Yes, they're plus 130.
Well, I'd have to definitely take plus 130 rather than lay the number on
Illinois game.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
Again, just to win both games instead of just a 1. Yeah,
correct.
I agree. Okay.
I mean, because I don't think Iowa or Nebraska will beat Houston.
No, as much as I said, I think Iowa is a good long shot bet. That's it. That's just a long shot bet. Houston is clearly the better team, and it'd be really surprising to see Iowa beat both Florida and Houston to get to the Final Four. I don't know if they can do that. So they still got to get by Nebraska.
That would be amazing. I mean, that would be amazing if Iowa could pull that off. And I'm not knocking them at all. I like that team.
Okay, so that is the South, and those games are going to be on Thursday. So the Iowa Nebraska is the early game, and Illinois and Houston will be about a little after 10 Eastern on Thursday night. Now let's move over, and of course that's the one side of the bracket. Now let's move over to the other side, and we could start with the West first of all, where you have 3 of the top teams, and then just like Iowa, we have the one outlier, Texas. Once again, I guess no big surprise. We have an 11 seed making it to the Sweet 16. And we kind of all thought that Texas NC State winner would be the likely one because of BYU's struggles and even not knowing if Gonzaga representing the WCC would be that tough considering one of their top 2 players was still out. So Texas took advantage. They have a really good tournament coach, and they're playing really good ball right now. The line is what about 6.5, Jim?
Open 6.5. We're seeing a lot of 7s, 7.5 at a couple places. Purdue, let's look at if you have the stat there and talk about what Purdue has done from 3-point range themselves. What has been their, I think the number is I don't think they can maintain the 3-point shooting they've had. I mean,
they're unconscious 60%. Right now. Yeah, they're shooting 57%. That's not maintained. I don't think you can maintain that. And 85% from the free throw line. So they're good at. I just don't. The 3-point shot is the most fickle stat in sports, and I just don't think they can maintain that. Now Texas is a fickle team also, but it just seems like a big number. I can't lay it. I definitely can't lay it, but not based on the fact that they're shooting such a high number. There's got to be a regression off that. Yeah, I kind of like Texas as well. I think Purdue will win, but I think this one will go down to the last minute or 2, and then Purdue will hold off. They've won 6 straight, including the Big Ten championship game. They've won their last 3 straight up and against the spread by 8 or more points. Texas, meanwhile, 3-0, straight up ATS in the NCAA tournament, all upsets. So all 3 of their wins have been by upset variety, and they're getting a nice little boost from their bench. A couple of players, Cody and Weaver, have doubled their production versus Gonzaga off the bench, and that was a big one. They needed it. They stepped up against a Gonzaga team that was the best team they were playing in the tournament, and they were able to get some big contributions from a couple of players on the bench. They're basically a 4-man team scoring-wise. Dalen Swain is their engine at guard. They also have a nice center that's having a good tournament. He had 23-16 against BYU. But Purdue, they've got the experience. These guys are in the tournament every year. They came close to winning a championship several years ago. They made it all the way to the Elite Eight last year in a close one against Houston. These guys are battle-tested, and that's why I think it's going to be too much for Texas. But I do agree with you. I think and also we got to keep an eye on the injury issue with CJ Cox, who had the injury, the knee injury. I think it was in the second half of Purdue's last game. And he was averaging 11 points in the tournament as an 8.5 a game score in the regular season. So, but he's their 5th leading scorer, so he's not one of their top 4. But still, he is a big part of their team that they'd want to have back, especially if they wind up playing Arizona in the Elite Eight.
Since we're talking about this, it doesn't. I mean, but Gonzaga is leaving their conference. They're moving on, and the coach of St. Mary's, as a result, took another job. He's leaving, going to Arizona State. So that conference is going to be extremely weak.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be like all the other like
the
Big West.
Those teams are going to have to line up somewhere else because they're not going to get any consideration whatsoever in the future.
Where's Gonzaga going? Anybody know who's listening live?
I don't know exactly. I read it and I can't remember right now. It's
okay.
It's the Big 12 maybe, or the it's got to be one of the big ones. Big 12, or Big 10.
How about the Pac-12? I mean the Pac. Aren't they getting that conference in football going again too?
You got me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're redoing that conference in football, so I don't know whether or not they're doing the same thing in basketball. So
we're gonna have to read up on that because where is Gonzaga going? I know they're going, and I know the coach. As a result, the coach for St. Mary's left and went to Arizona State.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, you can't keep going. I mean, the fact that he stayed at St. Mary's as long as he did, they should build a statue. I mean, he was there for 20 years or something like that. Almost in the tournament every year.
He might like living there. What the heck?
Hey, that's why I said he deserves it. He deserves the pay raise. He deserves a little bit more of an opportunity and maybe to go far.
But you asked a good question. I would like to know where Gonzaga went. I know they're going though. And I think it's good for them. They need to start playing better teams.
Yes. Yeah. That'll help him out recruiting wise and give him a better chance.
Yes.
So Anthony Thompson.
Wait, Gonzaga, what this?
Pac-12.
Pac-12. Okay. What the hell is the Pac-12? I thought they disappeared.
They had life support. Well, football they still had football. So remember they had the 2 teams, Oregon State.
Gonzaga doesn't play football. They're playing football.
No, they're going to have to be a 1-sport team like Notre Dame.
Wait a minute. You mean the Pac-12 is going to have one team?
Who's that?
Wait a minute. They're going to the Pac-12 that has no teams.
No, they have teams. They've already, again, I haven't looked at what they did in basketball, but in football, they've made, they've already put together some of these.
Who are the teams?
All right. Well, I can go ahead and find it out for you. Let me go ahead and put it up here. So let's see. New Pac-12 basketball conference.
We're kind of getting off the trail here, but.
All right. The new Pac-12.
Interesting.
9 teams: Gonzaga, San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, Utah State. So basically, it's some of the top Mountain West teams, plus Oregon State, Washington State, the leftovers, and Gonzaga.
Well, Colorado's, you got some good teams here.
Yeah.
In Utah State and Colorado State and San Diego State, they're all good teams.
Yes. they definitely were going to make sure that they were going to bring the best possible Mountain West teams with them.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's see, and then in football, let's see what the teams are in football. Football, it's going to be same Mountain West teams, same Oregon State, Washington State, and that's it. So all the same teams, I guess, except Gonzaga.
Okay.
I guess that means it's an 8-team league. Yeah, 8-team league in football.
A lot of realignment, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Keep track. That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's the way it looks there. Meanwhile, back to the West, and wow, look at these numbers. Now, I don't expect Texas. I'm not going to tell you to put money on Texas, even though it's 25-1, because they'd have to beat the 2 seed and the 1 seed. And I'm sorry, but that's just not happening. They'd have to beat the 3 seed, the 2 seed, and the 1 seed. That ain't happening. Arkansas, though, is 10-1 to win the region.
That's too high.
Now, yes, they'd have to beat the 2.
By the way, Arkansas, the kid, what's his name? Cuff?
Cuff?
He just signed a deal with a shoe company. He signed a big contract.
Yeah, it's no surprise. He's going to be a huge star in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, this kid is. I mean, people could make an argument he could be the number 1 draft choice.
He could be. Absolutely.
Could be. I mean, this kid. I watched him this last game. He was an amazing player.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
player.
But that's the problem with Arkansas is that when you watch him play, you can tell that they've got decent players, but they're just being led by this guy. I mean, this guy is just so good. You could tell that they're not a team. They're not a championship team.
He's the kind of player that can carry you.
He can, yes. And that's why they're dangerous as a 10-1 shot to win the West. They won the SEC tournament. So, look, they're a good 3-point shooting team. Cuff is averaging 30 points a game in the tournament.
That's incredible.
Malik Thomas is averaging 20 points a game in the tournament. And what's important against Arizona is you got to have size. And Arkansas has a couple of big bodies. They got Ewan and Brazil. They average 6'10", 235. And that's important because Arizona has 3 players that are between 230 pounds, 250 pounds, 260 pounds. And the one guy is 7'2". So they got a lot of size at Arizona, but at least Arkansas has some size to combat that as well. Couple other notes. Arizona only shooting 68%.
I would say
free
right
throw
now,
line so far in the tournament.
If you can find 8.5 at this point, I think you got to grab Arkansas at that.
I believe so. Yeah. And again, remember, Arizona is a very young team. They're at least 3 key guys on the team are freshmen.
There's no question Arizona could be the winner of the whole thing.
They could be,
but I mean, that's a big line against a team like this.
Yeah, they've already beaten Florida and Alabama this year. Arizona, they beat them in November. But it is a big line, 8.5 against the SEC champs that survived against High Point.
Right.
Over the weekend.
That guard for High Point. I mean, High Point looked like a pretty good team. That guard that they have, I think it was Miller. Whew, too bad he's not a little taller, because we'd be seeing him play at the next level. He is something else.
Okay, so that will be on Thursday. Again, the Arkansas-Arizona game is the late game on Thursday. And what is the other game? The other game being the Texas-Purdue game. That is the early game. That's the first game that's going to tip off the Sweet 16. That'll be at 7:10 Eastern on Thursday. So now we close it out with the Midwest region. This is where number 1 seed Michigan is. And we see the top, 3 of the 4 teams were expected there. Tennessee is a little bit of an outlier, but not a major surprise. They just had to upset Virginia, and that wasn't really that big of an upset, if at all. So yeah, to tell you the truth, that was one game where I was watching that Tennessee Virginia game and I was going, man, this game's ugly. I was like, whoever wins this game, man, there's no way they're beating Iowa State. No way. Now the only hope is for those teams, which is now Tennessee, is that Iowa State's second leading scorer did get hurt. So we have to find out. This is like the biggest injury news going into the Sweet 16. So you're talking about one of the top teams and one of their top players, Joshua Jefferson, was averaging 17, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, but he got injured versus Kentucky, and it's not looking great that he may miss this game. And Tennessee's got a really good defense, as we know. They're a very good rebounding team. Iowa State, as long as they're shooting and the buckets going in, they're fine. But if they're not, they're a little off. They're not a very good rebounding team offensively. So Iowa State needs to be on with their game offensively. But I just have a hard time believing that Tennessee team, even without Jefferson, I just think that even without their second best player, they can survive one game against Tennessee.
Well, it opened 3.5. It's 4.5, and I can understand that thinking, but I just can't lay those kind of points in a game like this.
What's the money line?
I don't have that right here. I don't have it right here.
Let's see.
Got to be close to 2-1.
The money line is, 192.
Yeah, that's close. I can't lay those kind of points in a situation like that, but
I hear you.
Then I don't like laying 2-1 either, so I'll just wait for the information.
Iowa State's been a good spread team this year. They're 23-13. Again, as I said, very good 3-point team. So as long as those are going in, even without Jefferson, keep in mind that they did have 3 guys. This is, again, like I said, with Duke, they had 3 guys that upped their games from the regular season. Nate Heisey went from 4.7 in the regular season to 17 points per game average in the first 2 games of the tournament. Blake Buchanan went from 8.5 to 10, 7, 5 assists a game. And Killian Toure went from 8 points a game to 17-7 in the tournament. So
that's filling in. I mean, Jefferson's not in the game, and these guys are taking over.
In that second game against Kentucky for half the game.
Right. Okay.
So so they did step up. Again, the first game is a blowout game, but I looked at the games and it wasn't like everything was in the first game. You know, these kids did contribute when Jefferson didn't play in the second game against Kentucky, which is promising. They also have a point guard, this kid Lipsy, who is averaging 6 assists and 4 steals a game in the NCAA tournament so far. We know about Tennessee, Rick Barnes, and his coaching issues come tournament time.
Yes.
But he's still a real good coach at this level at the Sweet 16. This has not been the knock on him.
I'd rather have him as an underdog than a favorite.
That is true, in which he is in this one.
Yes.
Yep. And speaking of upping their game, Gillespie, the guard for Tennessee, is averaging 25 and 7 assists per game in the tournament so far, up from 18.5 in the regular season. The one that's really been a little bit disappointing is really their best player, one of their top players, the freshman, Nate Ament. He was averaging 17.6 in the regular season. He's only averaging 8 and 3 in the tournament. He went 0 for 3 against Miami and 4 of 11 against Virginia. So the freshman Tennessee cannot expect to beat Iowa State with that player and those numbers. He's going to have to forget about what happened last week and use that as experience and move on and have his best game of the year against Iowa State. But they are a terrible shooting team.
Right.
But keep this in mind, and this is going to this would be a good thing for Tennessee. In the regular season, they average 33% three-point shooting. In the tournament, they're at 43%.
Oh,
And in free throw shooting, 69% in the regular season, which is about as bad as you can be. In the tournament, they're up to 74%. So Tennessee is actually shooting the ball a lot better in the tournament so far. And if that continues, then they're going to give Iowa State a game.
yeah. The problem is trying to predict that.
That is, especially against a very good team, because
Yeah.
Iowa State is much better than Kentucky. So,
Iowa State's a very good team, and that's why you're seeing the money come in on them. So I'm going to wait a little bit on that because we have till Friday to make moves on that. But
Okay.
the next game, Alabama, Michigan, is the only double-digit favorite we have in this round.
yes, and these are both Friday games, by the way. The Tennessee-Iowa State game is the late game of the Sweet 16. That's a little after 10 Eastern on Friday. The Michigan game is the early game, or the second early game on Friday at 7:35 Eastern. You got the first place Big Ten team in the regular season against the second place SEC team in the regular season. And look, I think Alabama can survive against Texas Tech and Hofstra without Aiden Holloway, but I just can't see them doing it without Aiden Holloway against Michigan. This is where it's got to come to an end. Alabama can't play defense. We know that. They're going to have to shoot their lights out because Michigan is going to score 90 to 100 points in this game.
Well, this is a game there's only one play, and we've already seen quite a bit of move on it, but the over is the only play.
What's it up to now?
75 and a half. 170.
175.
175 and a half.
Wow. That doesn't seem that big to me.
What's that?
What would the score have to be then? So 175 would have to be
90-80.
Okay. I still think I'd go with the over, even at that. But
it's a huge number, though. I mean, if you're going to have, wow, it came out 171 and a half. I got 172, but now it's starting to fly, and it's really hard to chase this. And if it's close enough, you might get a lot of foul shooting at the end. But with the 10-point spread, you're not predicting it to be close. So, but Alabama's going to fly up and down the court, and they're just going to bomb away if they're hitting. To get to 175 is so difficult.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I'd be kind of disappointed if Michigan didn't hit in the 90s at the very least, because Alabama's defense is not any good, and Michigan's offense in this tournament is red hot. We knew how good they were all season, and they've just completely upped their games. Even the top guys, Lendeborg, Morez Johnson Jr., Mara, the big center, all of them are playing better statistically than they did all in the regular season. They're getting contributions from 7 players offensively, averaging over 8 points a game, all 7. So their 3-point shooting was 36% in the regular season. It's now 46% in the tournament. And that going up against Alabama's defense now.
Yeah, and they don't even play defense.
No, they don't. And without Holloway, their second best player. Phelan's going to try to have to win this game by himself. He's having a tremendous tournament.
Yeah, but I don't think you can lay 10 and a half points with at this point.
Oh, with Michigan, I can do that. Yes. Michigan, as we all know, is capable of winning big. And I have no problem giving 10 against Alabama. I don't.
Okay.
Because in my opinion,
I'm marking you down.
In my opinion, if they don't cover this game, then that means that it's going to be a game that's going to go down to the last 5 minutes. And I'm having a hard time believing that if Michigan wants to win the national championship, that they're going to let Alabama take them to the last 5 minutes. Therefore, if that's not going to happen, then what we've seen happen all season with Michigan is when they're up by 15 in that range and they're in the second half, it usually goes to 20, 25. So that's what I expect to happen in this one.
They are not going to win this game by 25 points.
I think they might. So
Well, you and I can make a little wager on that.
What odds are you going to give me?
We'll talk offline.
Okay. So that's and you can see here Tennessee 7-1, Iowa State plus 250. What do you think about Iowa State at 250 to win the region?
Well, I got to find out about the player.
The player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without that, it's not a good number because you still got to get past Michigan too. So
yeah, I mean, no bargain. You got to play her out, and you got to play Michigan. Come on. I mean, it's not going to be a cakewalk against Tennessee anyway.
No,
even if they win it
without their player. Yeah. So we'll know more about that tomorrow when we are on the Playbook ATS podcast show at 1:00 Eastern. And back at it to John Cardenas. Appreciate it, John. We do our best. I'm glad you're entertained.
Okay, Anthony, Arizona -8, under 166.5. He's also got Purdue -7, under 149.
Oh, he's just giving the lines.
He's giving us his bets, I think.
Are those your bets, Anthony, or are you just giving us the lines?
No, I think that's what he's
going Purdue under and Arizona under.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go against Anthony. I don't do totals, but I'll go against Anthony. I'm going to take Texas and Arkansas. I'm going to take the two dogs there.
He's also got, you got the Pac. Okay, Gonzaga's going to the Pac-12. He's got that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate all that. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So,
and John, thank you.
So if you had to pick one underdog to win outright in the Sweet 16, who would it be? Last thing before we go.
Okay, give me
St. John's.
Give me 10 seconds.
Okay, and don't be giving me a 2-pointer.
No wait. You're talking about underdog there's Michigan State's not an underdog. It's not a real underdog.
No, it's got to be either St. John's, Illinois, Arkansas, Texas, Alabama, or Tennessee.
St. John's.
Okay, I'd like that. Get Duke out of the way. I don't want to play Duke in the championship game if I get that far. If my team gets that far.
The ACC has been rather unimpressive so far, but we know that Duke can play better than they've been playing. So
they need to leave the ACC. They're so good. It's like they're like Gonzaga in the WCC in that conference.
Yeah, they are. This year it is like that. But St. John's can't play another game like they did against Kansas. I mean, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I hope not, because that could get ugly.
You got to go.
All right, Jim. Are you heading down to Dom DeMarco's after this?
No, not today. I got a couple errands to run.
All right. So again, appreciate Dom DeMarco's, which we will be back. Jim will be back there in August before football season begins. We'll do this again next week before the Final Four. And then we'll turn our attention after that, I guess, maybe back to there's a lot of other things like Major League Baseball starting tomorrow, NBA playoffs, and much more. So, Jim, we'll talk to you again.
You got golf shows. You got
I got golf. I got a lot. Yes.
You got NASCAR.
Yes.
We got all that on here. The NBA playoffs is really much more exciting than the regular season for me because, I mean, all the teams come to play and they try hard and they play. Most of the players play every day. And then, of course, got, like you said, baseball. It's a long
Kentucky Derby's coming up soon. Horse racing coverage.
And you got a great horse racing show. John Cardoon, I think, right?
John Hardoon. Yes, It's a popular show on the channel, actually.
That's true. Yeah, we got some great stuff. We're never without sports,
No. People think football season's over and we should go on vacation. It's the exact opposite. So,
what's football? I don't even know anything about football.
It doesn't quiet down until I'd say right after the playoffs end in the NHL and NBA, like late June to July is the slowest time of year for sports. That's just before training camp begins in the NFL.
Yeah, especially when the baseball All-Star break hits. I mean, there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah. Yep. So that's it. That's when people like us, if we want to go on vacation, that's when we would do it.
Week before and the week after the All-Star break, I'm done. Nothing.
All right, Jim. I'll see you tomorrow on Mark's show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See everybody next week here for more coverage.